Hi, welcome to Gotta Ping, a careers podcast you should listen to if you want to grow your career online and offline. Hi, my name is Mei Ping, and I'm a professional career coach and international speaker with more than a decade of experience at some of the biggest companies in the world. To learn more about what I do, visit meiping.com. That's meiping.com. All right, let's jump right into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to another episode of my Grow Your Career Online and Offline podcast. So this is the second last episode of my 30-day client success story series where I share with you inspirational as well as empowering stories of my clients who have really transformed their corporate career. So today I actually want to share with you all I think a very important mistake, or rather important piece of the job search and career growth process that I think a lot of people take for granted. And it is actually about positioning yourself for the right value. So in other words, are you positioning your value correctly so that it is actually well understood by recruiters, HR, hiring managers, and even your boss at the workplace, right? So this is really about positioning of value. So positioning of value is not so much how good you think you are, is how your skills, background, and experiences is being perceived as helpful. It is being perceived as something that other companies and other organizations would really, really value. And I think this is a really important point to raise, is because recently I've been seeing on LinkedIn some, I guess, viral posts of people talking about, oh, too bad the hiring manager didn't recognize my value. Oh, too bad, these people don't recognize me. They didn't know what I could do. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, these kind of comments are fair, but I think the missing part to this sort of I guess complaints or expression, actually it is about, okay, um it's fine that it's not it's fine, but you can't help it if people don't want to recognize you, but you need to make sure that you have like gone 100% full out and provided the best way possible to articulate as well as to express your value. And I find that that's something that actually a lot of people don't know how to do. And this is in today's story as well. So this particular client of mine, we have been working together to improve workplace performance for some time. And when the time is right, she told me that she wanted to look for a new job. So she actually went ahead and applied for multiple roles. Before she even reached out to me for resume review, she was confident in her own abilities, and she went ahead and applied. But what she found very confusing and something that she didn't really understand was that how come she is already making 5-figure salary right now? She's already making 5 figures, but when she was invited for an interview, somehow the positions that they were interviewing her for were actually more junior positions. So what that means is that they, looking at her resume, the positions where she was invited to interview for were actually offering salary or positions that were way lower than her actual position. So for example, she was a senior manager, but the positions where she was invited for interview were either senior executives or manager, which is more junior than what she was doing. And from a salary standpoint, they could not match what she was making at all because of the nature of the level of seniority of the position. So when she booked the one-on-one session with me, that was something that she really couldn't understand. So she asked me, how come I'm really making a lot of money right now, but these companies just don't recognize that, and they somehow are offering me positions that are a lot more junior than what I'm supposed to be doing. So what I proceeded to do with this client is that I actually went to look at her resume, and after having just a quick look at her resume, I told her that if you were to write your resume this way, even me, like as a former hiring manager, even me, I will I'll probably think that you're very junior, because that is what your resume is conveying right now. And you might not see it specifically because you are maybe not that skilled in resume writing, or maybe you haven't actually been a hiring manager before, so you might not be aware of it. But I'm telling you, from a hiring manager perspective, like, your resume actually looks very junior. You are discounting your value and expertise. So that was something quite mind-blowing for her, because she didn't realize that such impressions could actually be made just by some of the things that she wrote in her resume. So some of the example things that she wrote was that she made, in terms of mistakes of her resume, was that it is too colorful, the fonts were very difficult to read. Basically, it was designed to look fancy rather than actually functional or effective. And the other thing also is that she didn't actually give enough information and context on the nature of work that she's doing. So whatever that she wrote in there was just very vague. And if I were to read it, I don't really know what she has done. And because I don't know what she has done, or I know the extent of context of what she has actually achieved and delivered and actually done, then as a hiring manager, and I'm sure the recruiters, HR, whoever that picked up her resume also felt the same way, the only conclusion that we can make is that she hasn't done much. And that might not be correct, but that is the impression that is being created. So for this particular client, I had to help her reposition her value. And the main message I told her is that you need to make sure that whatever that you're writing, you're actually not discounting your overall value. Because if you can't even articulate and express that clearly, then how can you expect other people to be able to understand that? So for her particular situation, if from 5 figures, she was already making 5 figures for like a few years, and now being out there in the job market, she's only offered 4 figures, something is actually really, really wrong, right? It's one thing being offered slightly less than what you're making, but it's a really big difference being offered like almost half of what you're making. Like, that is not good. So that was actually the situation with this client. And I also want to let you all know that actually such situations are very common. I also worked with other clients before where even the way that they write their resume, like, I cannot tell that they are very senior people. Probably if I were to look at it fresh, I might think that, probably they only have half of the experiences that they say they have. And this is actually very common. Like, even fresh graduates all the way to very, very senior people I work with, like almost C-suite level, sometimes they also face this issue. So the point I'm trying to make here is that make sure that you bring out your value. And if you really can't do it, or you can't see it, because it's not so easy to see our own how do I put it, blind spots, right? Then make sure you go and speak to an expert. Make sure that you speak to somebody who can help you pull out the value, because otherwise it will actually affect your career in the long run. Because if you are unable to get a job that pays what you are making right now, right, it's actually paying a lot less and a lot more junior positions, what that actually means in your career is that you're moving backwards. People are moving forward, but you are moving backwards in your career, and that is actually not a good thing. So make sure that your resume actually directly positions your seniority and value. I think that's very important. And this is the same advice I will give to even fresh graduates as well. So there's this other story that's sort of related to this one, where I had a client who was working for about 6-7 months. Then when she applied, she consistently told everybody that, oh, I'm just a fresh graduate, I don't have any experience, but the thing is that she has already been working for 6-7 months. So definitely she has some experience compared to a 100% fresh graduate, right? But because she went around sending this message, and that similar thing is reflected in her resume, then of course she didn't get any calls. So once in a one-on-one session, I helped her restructure that. Actually, she managed to join a global multinational company from a very small company, and in fact, from a pay standpoint, she was actually paid double what she was making at the small company. So 200% increment immediately, the moment she knew how to really leverage on any experience that she has, right? And also improving the mindset by stop saying that she doesn't have any experience and not believing in herself. So those are just like really, really two quick examples I can share with you. But the main point really is about, are you yourself clear on your value? If you're not even clear on your value, you need to get some clarity around that before you rush around doing your resume, rush around with LinkedIn, or rush around with job search. Because if you are not clear on what your value is, then it's going to be difficult for you to get a job. Because even if you manage to get an interview, during the interview process, you are definitely going to struggle, because how can you actually explain something that you don't even know or you don't even believe in? Like, it doesn't work like that. So get clear on your value, then learn how to articulate, express your value clearly, and make sure that you consistently communicate it, whether you are actively job searching or even as part of networking, for future career opportunities. Make sure that you're very, very clear on this, because aside from future opportunities, the other reason why it's going to be important is so that you continue to stay motivated in your career, right? So you can see what's ahead in your career rather than struggling, feeling stuck, and really not sure, what are you actually trying to do in your career. So there are actually multiple implications, but it really starts by getting clear on like what your value is and actually what you can bring to the table, and making sure that you're not discounting your value as a very good corporate professional. So with that, I hope that these two stories, I think today I shared two stories. These two stories actually inspires you and empower you to get clear on your value and really learning how to position that, whether you're actively job searching or you're just open to future career opportunities, as part of your networking efforts. So get started, get clear, get started, and definitely commit to it. So with that, I will end today's episode. If you find this client success story inspiring and empowering, make sure you can like and subscribe to this video, and make sure you to also check out the other client success stories in this 30-day series as well. So with that, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. For more awesome content like this, remember to like and subscribe. Also, head on over to my website, meiping.com, that's meiping.com, and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for more career growth and personal development tips. You can find the links in the description box below. Once again, you're listening to Gotta Ping, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!